Okay, so it's been a bit chaos this because process control and process modeling this time around. I think I need to how to say the thing. I have been meeting you guys every day almost except for Friday. I wish to be able to see you face to face, but this tutorial today we have to move it into the online because I think in the postgraduate office at level 5 there is a positive case. So just for your safety, Hannah later at 2 o'clock will give the tutorials online. I think in here as well in the Teams here. And then how to say that thing? Note that Dr. Vignesh will cover the process control starting from about week. I think about week 7 or week 8. I'm not too sure. He will be reporting on the 16th of April. 16th of April, which week is it? 16th of April. 17. So 17 will be what week? 17, guys. Do you know it on top of your head? 17 will be which week? Let me. If not, then I need to open my things just to give you a heads up because I normally only teach process modeling, guys. I don't really teach the process control, but because Dr. Mahmud left us at the end of last year, so then I have to be handling this for you. Okay, let me open the other one. CE 3006 first timeline mapping. Okay, let me open this thing. So this will be roughly my plan, okay, for the process control because I don't handle this thing, so I have to make a good plan of what I'm teaching. So the 18 April until 22 April. Is it correct? 18 April? 18 April, yeah, correct. 18 April, 18 April meaning that will be your week. Theoretically, your week 7, okay, but it's in reality it will be week 8 on Canvas already. So that will be tackling the design dynamic behavior of the feedback control systems. Okay. So starting from this week, you will expect that Dr. Vignesh probably will take over from me. So you have about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks with him, I think, hopefully. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And but don't worry about that. I think if you want, I can always be contacted for your process control because the unit convener will still be me. But I think the lecture, I think I will pass it over to him. The tutorials, I think, will still be handled by Hannah and Frederick. Okay. So far we have gone into the dynamic behavior of the second order, but after this, then it will be very quick. Only I think two more weeks. I think I'll take this feedback control, also with the advanced control, and then I'm gonna teaching a little bit on the design of the feedback control and the control instrumentation and tuning. I'm talking about process control. Well, I'm talking about process control while this is actually a process modeling anyway. Sorry guys for that. Sorry about that, but you guys are basically sitting in two of my classes, right? So anyway, what to do? I'm still the unit convener for 2 of your units. Okay, so today we're gonna go and discuss example. So we just try to finish the discussions that we started last Monday, guys. It's about we started from the one-dimensional nonlinear problem, meaning one-dimensional is that you have nonlinear equations that can be solved using what is the bisection method, right? Bisection method, and then we can use also a linear inverse interpolation, which is the Regulov-Halsey. We can also use that form. What do you call that thing? Y is equal gx or something like that. If I go back again in here, just go back here. direct substitution. Okay, I forgot the name, direct substitution, even I forgot the name. And we can use a Newton-Raphson method. And then we have discussed also the steps on how you solve these things. Now, the examples in here, guys, the one that I'm giving to you in here, okay? Just take note that this may or may not be tested in your test too, but for you to be able to understand, you need to try to repeat this process again to understand the algorithm. So in case it comes out in your test too, because I can only test you on something that can be tested within that 3 hours or 4 hours of the window, right? I cannot tested you on something that are that can be tested. Like for example, I cannot tested you on the MATLAB. So I will not ask you something like this. Like for example, you see what is this? What is this for loop is doing in here? Okay, what is this this plot? This mean? Okay. Or I would not ask you something like about derive me the Newton-Raphson derivations. No, I will not ask something like that, guys. So don't you guys worry too much about the test. The test is basically to test you on something that can be tested within the 3 or 4 hours. Okay, so something like this, the algorithm or the MATLAB things that this is tested in your project one. That's why your project one consists about 30% of the total mark that you earn for the whole unit, because the idea is that you are doing it in a group. Okay, so everybody has to contribute equally. Everybody has to contribute equally, not just one person doing more or something like that. In the past, probably I did not have the mechanisms to account for the contributions for everybody, but this time around we have something that we call a peer assessment, that you can check the peer assessments. Okay, I put it already in your assignment module in here. Okay, so this peer assessment is something that have to be put in place to make it fair to everybody. Okay, so if you see in here, if I put it in assignment one submission, for example, I click in here in project one submission. Okay, I click in here. There is a peer assessment procedure that you can have a look in here. Okay, so essentially this has to be completed I think 1 week before you submit your project one. Okay, so what we did is basically you are evaluating each other. Okay, so for example, if student A go into the Google Drive in here, okay, the student A go into the Google Drive in here, okay, then I put it in what group number. For example, I put in 1. Okay, team member I put Jaka, for example. Okay, put next. Then you need to put what is the team member name. For example, I put in Hannah. In here I put in Frederick. Okay, next. Then you need to read these things carefully. Under each criteria, please ensure the total score you assign to all members is kept at 7 times number of members. So for a group with 3 members, the total allowed score is 7 times 3, which is 21. Okay. For a group with 4 members, the total allowed score is 7 times 4 equal 28. You need to read this carefully, okay? If the total assigned score exceeds the limits, the balance will be deducted from your own score. So if you assign the total of 22 points, this will be bad to you because the additional 1 point will be deducted from yourself, okay? If 30 points are assigned in a group of 4, then the additional 2 points will be deducted from the evaluator. Okay, so please read this thing carefully before you do this peer evaluation. And then we want you to rank your teammates. Okay, cannot have multiple members getting the same ranking. Kindly list down your comments in the final section. Students will get 0 mark if this assessment is not submitted. The convener reserves the right to change the rating or vary the mark if there's strong evidence confirming any wrongdoing. Okay, so then we have to make sure that the team member 1 is yourself. If I rank myself, for example, I'm an honest guy. I think that I'm not performing very well. I can put it 5 to myself. Okay, I'm just performing okay, not very well. Then I see that, for example, Hannah is my group member. She is performing very well. I put her 8. Okay. Then what is the remaining? 5, 8, 13. 13 meaning I have 7 plus 1. 8 again to another member. That is if I'm doing it correctly. If I'm doing it, if I have like a 3 member, okay. Then next again. Then I need to check what is this. You rank yourself whether you are. If you are 3 member, then for example I would put in rank 2. I think I'm not the best. For example, Hannah is the best. I put in rank 1. Okay. Then I think that Frederick is worse than me. I put in rank 3 in here. Okay. Then I go in next. Then I can put in the comments for the 3 member too. What do you think? For example, Hannah is very hard working and active during project 1. Okay. For example, Frederick is a bit inactive and made us lag behind in some tasks. Example, but this is treated anonymously, so nobody will know about these things. Okay, so this is just an example that you're gonna this is something that I start implementing since I think last year. So this, if I want to clear, I will clear I clear this form because this is, I'm just showing it to you. Okay, what does that mean? Okay, this is how we're gonna rank you. So this is how you're gonna read these things. If you want, you can read this thing. So depending on that rank and the points that you give, then that will be ranked based on these things. Then you will get a normalized factor in here. So the point in here is why we put in a peer evaluation in here is such that it will be fair to everybody in the group member. So if like, let's say in a 3 group, everybody perform the same, they are all active, then all the 3 members will generally put in a good comments for each other. Then everybody will get the same points, will get 1 in here. But if, let's say one group member is basically not active, then of course that will not be fair for him or her to get the same mark with respect to the other one that are very active. Okay, so this we implemented, and this has to be submitted 1 week before the I think before the project 1. I think we put in a date on your project 1, guys. Okay, so before I continue, then do you have any things that you want to ask regarding this project 1? This thing doesn't happen in your process control, because in your core process control we assume that you are working in a group of 2. So I think you're basically and for each of the for the project 1, each group have a different assignment, I think, to do. But if there is anything that you want to tell me, then that also will be okay as well. Okay. So this peer assessment is the components that we apply, we put into the project 1, because we want everybody to contribute equally to the projects. Okay, if there is no other questions, then I will go into my into covering these things again. Okay, so MATLAB project in something like this is something that cannot be tested in 3 hours or 4 hours, guys. This has to be tested when you are really doing the research project, or when you are really trying to troubleshoot a MATLAB to solve a problem. Okay, so I cannot really test it in here, but rather I give you an introduction in terms of the project 1 that basically asks you to try to understand how the code is working. But you also don't do it alone. You have your friends to work together with you to discuss, and then you also have me. If you have any questions that you want to ask, then you can ask me. So far I already have 2 or 3 people that come back to me and ask the questions. Okay, so the Newton-Raphson method that we discussed, that can be applied into the multidimensional nonlinear problem. So in case you have 2 nonlinear equations that you want to solve, the 2 nonlinear equations, of course, has to contain the 2 variables as well, because you need the same number of equations with the same number of the variables in order for you to be able to solve a unique problem. Okay, so here in this case we give you an illustration of one example on the exothermic continuous stirred tank reactor. So you have this kind of reactors where you have a coolant in and coolant out, and you have an A that comes in and then reacted as it goes out. Okay, and this one is a stirred tank. In here, in this particular problem, we want to determine the steady state temperature and concentration in a continuous stirred tank reactor in which an exothermic reaction takes place. Okay, we also want to determine the conditions for both maximum and minimum cooling, but the most important thing is we want to get the steady state temperature and concentration. So this is how we derive the material and energy balances in here. Okay, so I have given the detailed derivations in here. Okay, you can see that this is a dimensionless variables. For your test 1 and test 2, if you want to get a full mark, always remember that I want to see units and units cancellation. Because why? Because as an engineer, unit is very important. Sometimes when you derive an equations, if you have the feeling of the unit, you will be able to judge whether your equation is correct or wrong. And then you need to know that 1 meter is different with 1 kilometer. Okay, 1 second is different with 1 minute, and 1 second is different with 1 month. So unit is very important, not only in terms of the consistency of the unit, but also because the magnitude of the unit will give you a picture of how big actually is the value. So it's very important that I want to see everything being done clean using a unit cancellations, everything. Okay, so this is a variable that we use when we want to convert the main variables into dimensionless variables. And the reasons I do these things is maybe Jaka, this is apparent already, this is dimensionless variables, but I don't trust the book. Sometimes I have to confirm that this is correct for myself. So that's why I do these things in just to check whether this is really correct or not, because I cannot just trust the book, right? I need to confirm and inspect myself whether this is correct or not. So this is what I did. I checked one by one, Pro, CP, T, and then I canceled one by one. So after I cancel everything, I can be sure that what they put in the book is correct, because this is a dimensionless variable. Okay, so the material balance, when you ask me, Jaka, how did you derive these things? So this is how you derive these things. Okay, in plus generation is equal out plus consumption. Some of you come back to me, ask me, Jaka, how did I derive the mathematical models in the book? For example, the book that I give in the Dorfman and the Dorfman or the other book. That's what I want you to do. I give you an example. That example has been done. I mean, it's just an example. An example has been done. Okay, but the MATLAB is also being done. So whatever we give to you, everything is already run. And basically me and Frederick, we ensure that all the MATLAB code are working for you to just start using it. Okay, that's our responsibility. But from my side, what I want you to know is, how did you derive that equations? So you need to find an extra. You need to do your own research to basically tell me how that equation is being derived using a chemical engineering principle so far. If not, if you just put in what has been given to you in that particular example, then what will be the additional value that you put into your project 1? There will be no additional value, right? So this is to start to make you think. So if you are just given an example, you need to start asking yourself, how did that equation derive? For example, me, when I make my slides, I only get this thing, but I need to think. I need to spend 1 hour. I need to spend 2 hours. I need to spend 3 hours. I need to think to myself, how did I get these particular equations? Is it correct or not? And then how did I get this energy? So what I did is I need to do my own homework. Then this is what I did. Okay, I know that this one is coming from the conservation, mass, or mole balance, right? I know these things because this form is always coming for everything that we did in chemical engineering is mostly coming from the conservation laws. So that's what I did. I need to check. In plus generation is equal out plus consumption. Then I put in FCA naught, and then I put in out FCA plus VR, because I know that this system is containing a reaction. Then I need to check again, what is this thing? Is that L, the unit? I need to cancel. Is this canceling with this? So this one will be mole per second, correct? And then I get these things, it's in here. Then we can divide by the FCAO to make it in terms of the dimensionless variables in here. Okay, that is for the material. Then I get another one again in here. I need to find out what is this term correspond to, what this term corresponds to, what this term corresponds to. Right, so I go in here, I check in plus production is equal out. I go with here FCP rho CP TO min T reference. Okay, so unlike in process control, because the slides are originally made by Dr. Mahmoud, I don't simply put in T reference equal to 0. Why? Because I think that T reference equal to 0 is not really appropriate. I think that the T reference equal to 0, if you want to use it a Kelvin, then that will be appropriate. But rather what I believe is that it will cancel with each other in here, the reference, such that it will be eliminated in the final form in here, the T reference. Okay, but I need to be sure that all of these are correct. So how did I ensure that this one is all correct? So I check the unit again. See, this one is what I did one by one in here. And then also the heat of the reaction in here can also be checked as well. How can this become like this? Is it the same, having the same unit or not? Okay. Then after you get all these things, then you manage to get this particular equation that will be equal to this particular energy balance in there. Okay. Then you divide by this F minus delta H Ca naught. And then you will be able to get this particular form in here. Okay. These are in here, or this particular variables VR divided by FCA naught, which is this variable, VR divided by FCA naught, which is P. This can also be expressed in terms of the dimensionless variables that we write in here. Okay, this is the mathematical manipulations that I did to in terms of the dimensionless variables. Okay, in here I also give you the logic into how these equations in here can be converted into these equations in here. Okay, and then how this can become these equations in here. Okay, therefore if you do these things carefully, then you will get that this overall is, you get this. So you have two equations in terms of the dimensionless variables and two variables. One is the dimensionless concentration, one is the dimensionless temperature. Okay, so which one is the dimensionless concentration? Is this one. Dimensionless temperature is this one. Okay, like this. Then you need to also express your Jacobian, because this is a multi-dimensional problem, meaning that you will have a partial derivative. Okay, so this is something that I give to remind you back into your partial differential equations. Okay, so you need to derive for this F1 with respect to this dimensionless concentration only, this one with respect to the dimensionless temperature. If you do it correctly, then you will get these things in here. Okay, so if we go back into your slides, this unit you want to check it again. Okay, these are the one that I'm putting in there, and I already cross-check everything. This is correct or not. I confirm by myself that this one is actually something that you can recover. Okay, now for the sake of solving an example, we can take in a set of values for the parameters. So for example, for the P in here, we can take it equal to this 50, and then this one is equal to half. Okay, and then the feed temperature is equal to the coolant temperature. We take it as equal to 1.75, right? There are two conditions for the dimensionless transfer coefficient that are of interest. If your U is equal to 0, there will be no cooling or an adiabatic reactor. The other condition is that of maximum cooling, which corresponds to U1 equal to 2. Okay, these are the two MATLAB code that you need to use. You need to solve using this using the Newton-Raphson multidimensional nonlinear Newton-Raphson equation. Okay, this one in here is expressing your equations in here. These two equations in here. Okay. You give an input of x in here. Okay. This x in here is basically your KSI and your NY. So the x in here that you put in should be a vector with two components. Okay. And then you will get your residual will be whatever the value that they calculate from these two particular equations. Okay. Your psi in here and your p is, your psi is here. This one is your psi. Your p is this p in here. Okay. Then this one is basically NYO, NY, US, P. Okay, so you go and then you check in here. You match the term one by one. So you know that this one is the expressing your two nonlinear equations. Okay. The other function in here is dealing with the Jacobian. Is basically calculating the Jacobian of your nonlinear equations in here. Okay. So you have in here also you put in as your input is your psi and y. Okay, but you will get out the Jacobian matrix with the value for that particular set of KSI and NY. Okay, so in here is what you put in into your common prompt. So you don't need to create another driver because you are basically using another program that has been made by John Matthews into 2020. So this is a solver called nonlinear equation solver based on the Newton method. So what you need to provide is essentially the name of the vector function, the Jacobian matrix, okay, the starting vector, or the initial guess for the value of the KSI and the value of the P. Okay, your delta is the convergence tolerance for the P naught. Okay, epsilon is the convergence tolerance for the Y naught. Okay, and then Y naught in here is the function factor Y naught. Okay, P naught in here is the factor P naught. Okay, and then you also have the maximum number of the iterations in here. Everything that started with the percentage in here will not be executed, but the author just wanted to be to make the program much more user friendly by telling you what are the input that is needed to put into this particular toolbox. Okay, then the real value is this one in here. Okay, so what happened in here is that it will set the P is equal P naught in the beginning, and then that will evaluate Y naught. Okay, it will give you the nonlinear functions, the value of the two linear functions at P naught. Okay, then this will start the iterations. Okay, where the iterations in here will proceed using the Newton-Raphson method in here. So what you need to do is after you define, this is the functions that you put in. Okay, you put in this function, the first one. The Jacobian is the second one. At the beginning, you put in the value of the psi and the P equal to 1, 1. This is the tolerance, 1 exponent minus 6, 1 exponent minus 6, and you only want it to run for 40 iterations. Then you get the solutions. So the dimensionless concentrations will be equal to 0.9676, and the dimensionless temperature will be equal to 1.7608. Okay. Now the thing that are important from these particular things that I need to tell you is that you see that there is no variable of the time that comes out in here. Okay. Why? Because these are dealing with the steady state LAMP models. So we don't have the time variables that are playing into actions in this particular two equations. Okay, I think I think that will be what I want to discuss for today. Does anybody have any questions on the Newton-Raphsons, on the direct substitutions, on the bisections, or on anything that you want to ask before I conclude these sections, and then you can move into the tutorial for the process control. Amanda, Clarence, Eva, James, Jason, Jonathan, Juliana, Chising, Michael, Taha, Rachel, Selena, Tiffany, Yusi, Wong Yo, Wei Xin. Anything you guys want to ask? Regarding your project one also can, regarding your week 4, anything that you want to ask? No, nothing. Okay. So after this week, we already go into the 1/3 of your semester already, basically. Yeah, everything will be moving very quick. So I encourage you again to work with your group members, and then no, that one is not Canvas quiz. You are asked to scan and submit. That's why you are given extra 30 minutes to scan and submit. And try to make it clear as well, Clarence, if possible. Okay? Because that I cannot cover the understanding by only putting in a quiz. Okay? So yes, you do need to scan and try to make it clear. And as good as possible, so I don't really have difficulties to mark it after you finish doing it. Okay. Okay, if there is no other questions, let me stop the recording first. Okay.